Hiya, Mr. Sheeran here. I'm talking to you today for a point of reflection for Lent on the use of technology, the use of your phone, your laptop, your screen, and the idea of having one day where you fast from that. In these times that's difficult, of course, because that's your kind of main way of communication with your friends who you can't be at school with, and with other people as well with school. But it's the idea of maybe spending a day at the weekend where you don't do that. A weekend where you fast yourself from being on your phone, maybe being on your laptop or your iPad, and looking at you and what you can do that day and concentrating on you. And there's lots of benefits to that that I'd like to point out, because I've tried this. I tried this a few weekends ago where I had a technology-free day and I spent a day with my family. And it was great. It was great in lots of ways because I actually felt like the day lasted a lot longer than it normally did. So that's one benefit that I found out from that, where time didn't seem to race away so much. And I don't know what that is. I don't know whether it's because you've got the time on your phone, so you always know the time and things. But actually, without worrying about time, without worrying about what you're going to do the next hour, what you're going to do next, and just actually embracing the day, it was really good. And there's some other benefits as well that I want to point out to you about fasting from technology for the day. It gives you a chance to dedicate yourself to something else. Some people use technology to help them pursue an activity, but very often it actually can get in the way. Where if you want to go a big long walk, if you want to go out and walk the dog, you constantly be on your phone, constantly listening to music, constantly hearing noise, actually you miss things. You miss nature, you miss the great outdoors, you miss appreciating what's around you. And I suppose during Lent, that's something to consider. You might decide that you want to dedicate yourself to some prayer, some internal reflection about what your thoughts and what your feelings are, and that's really important at these times where mental health is difficult for most people. Just dealing with the situation we're in with lockdown, etc. It's hard, and I don't think being disconnected helps. I think it adds stress. So one way to de-stress might just be to fast from technology for a day. There's lots of studies as well talking about this constantly being attached to a screen, constantly getting information, all that going through your head actually leads to a worse sleep. So what you might find is you might sleep better. And it allows you to prioritise what's immediate to you in life and what's important to you, the people you live with, the neighbours in your street, the friends who live nearby, prioritising actually the people who are in front of you instead of the people who may be many miles away, and kind of severing yourself from that world that exists online that's actually not real, in a sense that it's not the emotions you'd normally get. It's not the interactions that you would hope to have with people necessarily. Sometimes it can be quite negative. So I would encourage you to spend a day fasting from technology. Pick a day, probably the weekend's easiest. Let your friends know you're doing it, to give them notice, and they know, you don't need to worry. There's this thing called, fear of missing out. You're not going to miss out on anything dramatic by taking one day. So, put your phone down and spend a bit of time with your family, spend a bit of time in your community, go outdoors, enjoy it. The weather's getting better, and you might just find yourself personally being in a better place because of it. Thanks.